Okay.
But yeah, so I just really can't stress enough that whatever is out there, whether this month it's Ebola, and the intravirus and the MRSA and all of the things that it's just anymore, it just seems to be part of what we deal with.
Right.
We've got these super things that are whatever way that they're created and however they manifest and they evolve from the resistance of all the other medications into these super bacterias and super viruses that, there are things that you can do. And there are things that, I have recommended for years, and I have applied those things as well with my own family. And, and I'm here to tell you, it works. It makes a difference. And when you do, and if you do get sick, you overcome it in record time, so.
So you think, so this is kind of my question, because, so if I became infected with Ebola, you think I could just, by myself, get rid of it?
I think that with what's been said, as far as some people get it and some people don't, and it has to do with the health of their immune system. The health of the immune system is key on everything, every single thing. The key to health, the root where it starts, is the immune system, and it's a vital system to remember daily that it needs to be fed. I think that with the other things, I'm not saying that I certainly would not, possibly do what the medical field wants done. Because they've not said it to me, but I know if I did choose to do the medications that they wanted, I would also be doing what I know to do.
I mean, basically, sounds like the best thing to do is to get your body up to that 8.0 pH
and be preventative minded and to kind of think about something twice before doing it. If you don't need to go to a large gathering or where there's a mall, or hey, obviously the airport.
Right.
I'm sorry, but if you've got to take a loved one to the airport at this point, I think it's best to just give them a kiss and a hug and let them off by the curb. I'm sorry.
I keep telling my wife. Keep telling my wife, I think that her place where she works has a very great chance of.
Yes, I think
contracting it.
Oh, I think so too.
Oh,
because
yes.
she deals with a lot of those who are not as fortunate as others and struggle financially, and it's really when you don't have any money, you don't have any money, and
right.
When you don't have any money, there's just things that you don't have, and so yeah, I would have to agree with that.
So that. I'm just kind of glad that she's going to be retiring here any time now.
Any time now.
It's like,
yeah.
Hopefully it ain't too late, but
wow,
I mean, but still, I always thought, there's certain places where it's going to happen. You just got a higher risk of it likely to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, well, there's already been a case where that Dallas guy supposedly flew through Denver, a couple of times, and then the plane flew through Denver like 4 times. So,
okay.
Denver's already...
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. We've already had an Ebola patient here in Denver.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I did not.
I saw the report.
Huh. Well, this is, when people can just go all over the world. We have to... we do have to stop. I think, people should not be flying over there, and people should not be allowed to fly back here.
No.
Until this is under control.
Yes, I agree.
And there was some things that were said about, the doctor that survived. Now, a unit of his blood, and I do believe that it is the plasma that was given to the young
nurse?
26-year-old nurse, Nina Pham. And I'm sure that maybe that's something that they'll be doing with the 29-year-old nurse, Amber Vinson. And, there was something said about, why was Mr. Duncan not given some of that doctor's blood? And, at first, my reaction was, well, they obviously were not the same blood type, because my father died from being given the wrong blood type. I mean, it was part of the whole breakdown of what was going on, the misdiagnosis of Legionnaire's disease and all the big gun antibiotics, and then they gave him a unit of the wrong blood, and I'm not talking O. O's a universal donor. No. Why didn't they give him O? No, he was B blood type. They gave him A.
Oh.
So, that right there will kill you. And then with all the big gun antibiotics they had given him and all of the reactions to that, he ended up with Stevens-Johnson syndrome. And in 8 weeks, he died.
Wow.
And it was horrific. And so that was my first thought. They obviously were different blood types. But then, the thing with plasma is plasma pulls out the red and the white blood cells and the platelets. And it's just kind of the juice in between with the plasma is, and that's where a lot of antibodies. That's where antibodies are present there. So, since this doctor survived Ebola, that blood plasma of his was rich in an antibody to Ebola, and unfortunately, that at that point, I'm sure on October 8th, when Mr. Duncan died, that it was an oversight about that. And I don't think that the physician was, I don't think he was out of the hospital yet either. I guess I need to check that, but so he was struggling and fighting and recovering as well. So, I really don't think at that moment they thought, well, this guy is not dead yet. Maybe we should give him some of his blood. I don't think that was even a thought, because the doctor was still not out of the woods yet. So, unfortunately, bad timing. It's terrible, but this Mr. Duncan, I'm sure, came to the United States in hopes that with the symptoms that he had, that he would be healed here. And but this now with this the nurse, the 26-year-old nurse, Nina, she, last reported that she's doing pretty good.
Uh-huh.
And she did get a unit of this doctor's plasma. So, hopefully this is something that is being given to this Amber Vinson as well. So, if by way of the antibodies against Ebola that his system would have made in order for him to overcome that, then if that works with them, then there are 3 donors. There's 3 people right there. And as more people, unfortunately they would have to be diagnosed.
Right.
And we don't want any more diagnosis of it. But if there is, then it can be right there in that plasma from those that are affected and overcome that. So that plasma is may be the best thing, along with supporting the immune system. But it's kind
So,
of scary that
that plasma. All right, so this is gonna kind of go back onto one of those conspiracy theorists, where that plasma pretty much secured the patent for the Ebola.
It was plasma that. Oh, okay.
It secured the Ebola cure patent. That
when was that patent done? Do you know? At all?
I would have to go back online and research it, and because if I go onto Facebook right now, Facebook kind of like will mess with the Spreaker app, and it likes to overtake it, and then you'll have dead air in there, because it's Facebook and Spreaker fighting with each other.
Yeah, there was something said about that, and I just should have read it more, but I just kind of skimmed over that, and really what I'm about is I don't want people getting freaked out and worried about things. There's just precautions that you can take, and as long as you just kind of get those melded into your daily life, they're just really not a burden to do.
Because I'll be, the first one to admit that, the swine flu, the West Nile, all those other...
Well, I got sick with that West Nile.
Well, see, but those did not make me nervous, okay? I wasn't nervous about that.
I run from a mosquito now. It's like,
but I'm nervous. I'm nervous about the Ebola. Okay, I am. I'm not.
Well, I'm
nervous about it because, the door has been opened for the epidemic to happen.
Yeah.
Because of those flights, because of it being in Spain, in Europe, in Africa, here in the United States. I'm sorry. That makes me nervous.
Yeah. Well, I'm always telling my son, who is a commercial delivery driver, and he's delivering things from all over, and I'm constantly on him about wearing gloves, handling those boxes. Those boxes have been on the other side of the world.
Right.
How many people, stop and think, how many people handled this package before it ended up into his truck and for final delivery?
That's true. That is true.
And with this going on, you just don't know. That's it. You don't know.
So, alkaline water, or get your body's pH up, 8.0, elderberry chews, and the silver.
Yes, silver products, and the the air purification system. That telephone number again. You want to talk to Greg? Tell him Dr. Kim told you about it. 818-698-2088. There's another number toll free, 888-601-5886. I want to talk to Greg.
Right on.
Okay.
Right on. And they can get a hold of you through
Kingdom of Healing for You. Kingdom of Healing. That's the number 4, the letter U, at yahoo.com. And that's all for today. And everybody take care. And we will talk next time.
Right.
Take care.
Right on, guys. Have a good week.